Hey guys, it's the WalterFootball.com After Dark Show for September 13, 2024. Going to be looking at the Week 2 NFL picks, the Thursday thoughts, as we usually do on Thursday. I say we, but I'm solo once again. Tom had a work conflict. I thought he'd be on tonight, but he said he's going to be on Saturday instead. So usually I do a solo show on Saturday and show with Tom on Thursday. So we're going to flip it this week due to Tom's work conflicts. So we have to wait 2 more days to hear his thoughts, but I have notes on all but one game here. And I'll get to all of it. So before I do, please hit like, subscribe, comment below, share this video, visit the link in the description for the merch store. All that will be really appreciated. As you can see here, we have a ton in the merch store, all reasonably priced. Wow, some of these, wow, like $16, I think. I'm just seeing this for the first time. 1610. I have no control of these prices. I take a percentage. So like whatever. I mean, it's always gonna be the same cut for me. But sometimes Zazzle will lower their prices. It says 1610. I saw some shirts that are 14. This one's 15. And these are high quality shirts, as Cassandra has said before. And you know, I'm wearing one of them. Like this 801 shirt. I wear these all the time. Don't joke about that. That's like my entire wardrobe for the most part. And like, yeah, you're getting a great sale now. So if you want one of these, definitely take advantage of it. So I'm probably going to get some more actually. could use some new shirts too. So yeah, please consider that. Also, super chats, super stickers would be awesome. We had a super chat for John Sanders yesterday. Also, Slew and K Make an Eagle recently. Also in the past, Germ, Degeneron, Kevin Kovac. You guys have been so awesome with your contributions and really helpful because, as I always say, YouTube ads pay nothing. So it's just really great that you guys are so helpful and just like the show so much that you're willing to support us. So it's just so appreciated. So thank you so much for your past contributions. And thank you for any future ones. Anyway, something else you can do is go to Amazon, buy my book. It's called Jerks of the College Years. I made fun of people that I saw Penn State. As you see here, six jerks here for each of the 6 years I was at Penn State. So as you can imagine, I had a ton of stories to tell. My other book is How the 2020 MVP Was Stolen. Actually, I have one more on top of this one. But yeah, How the 2020 MVP Was Stolen. This is an expose about how Brett Favre tried to sabotage Aaron Rodgers' MVP in 2020. So it's quite the story. If you haven't read it, I think you'll be pretty astonished by what transpired with Brett Favre here. So definitely check that out as well. Cassandra says, hello, Walter. Hello, Cassandra. Hope you're doing well tonight. Hope everyone else is doing well. Outside of that Miami Buffalo debacle, was unfortunately on the wrong side of that. Yeah, that the most, you're going to get games wrong from time to time. That was a disaster. But the one tilting thing from that game was that James Cook had exactly 17 receiving yards, which he had on the first drive. He had one catch for 17 yards. And that's it. He didn't catch another pass after that. We had over 17 and a half receiving yards. So that was brutal. And I swear, maybe I'm just seeing things, but I swear on that touchdown, I swear it was an 18-yard reception. Like I thought that they were at the 18-yard line. If not the 18, maybe like the 17.9-yard line. So I thought that we got there. And it was 17 instead of 18. Like, all right, fine. We'll get there, of course. And of course we didn't, because the Bills got out to a huge lead. They didn't need to throw it to Cook. That was so painful. But anyway, we'll try to recover from that and have a good Sunday, hopefully. Sue says, congratulations to John Sanders. Yeah, absolutely. The Bills still own the Dolphins even without Diggs. Not just Diggs, without Matt Milano, without Micah Hyde, without Jordan Poyer, without Terrell Bernard, who got hurt in the first quarter, without Taron Johnson, without Gabe Davis. Like the Bills are they're not nearly as good as they were when they've been dominating the Dolphins. And yeah, they still did. And Tua just looked like he had deer in the headlights. I in my recap, I said that like that's overused a lot, that metaphor. But that's like the perfect way to describe how he looked, especially that 2-minute drive. Like, what the hell was that? Like, I've never seen like a supposed good team be coached so poorly. Like, they didn't use timeouts. Tua was trying to hand off the ball the wrong way. I don't know what he was doing on the pick six, where he just like lobbed the ball up helplessly. Like, I don't understand. It was third. I think it was third down. So just like take the sack. Like, what are you doing? I don't. That was so bad. And I'd never want to. I never want to bet on the Dolphins in a big game. If they're playing crap teams, that's the time to take them, I guess. But yeah, every time they're going to be in a big game, just don't take the Dolphins from now on. Nine says took Buffalo. Congrats, Matthiasen. That was a good call. G Chuck says the game put me to sleep. I almost fell asleep too. Although I'm running on 2.5 hours of sleep because I had a dentist appointment in the morning because I had to get a temporary crown put in for one of my extractions. So yeah, that was the only time they could do it, and it was especially brutal because I had a temporary. I had one of the screws fall out of my mouth. And I was trying to get it replaced or put it back in. And I couldn't go because my kids had stomach virus and then I had a stomach virus. So it just never went. And so by the time I came back, the gum line closed over it. So they had to like drill into my gum. It was just so painful. So yeah, it was just not only am I tired, I'm like also in pain. So yeah, that was absolutely brutal. Sue says, how about this? I have Kincaid and Allen. My opponent had James Cook. Oh man, that sucks. Yeah, I had no James Cook. I was pretty down on him, and yeah, he was great tonight. He was fantastic. Leo says I sat Bill's defense. That's sorry to hear that, Leo. Hopefully your other defense does just as well, or maybe almost as well. G Chuck says, how about this? I have Allen and Kincaid and was outscored by the Bills defense. That's so brutal. I actually didn't look at how my fantasy teams did tonight. I suppose I will at some point before Sunday, but I don't know if I played against the Bills defense. I hope I did not. And Barron says, consider taking the under on your DFS players to avoid. I saw your note on Samuel and took under 16.5 receiving yards. He only had 2 targets. Yeah, good call. What was his yardage count? Let me see. I guess I know. Yeah, he had one catch, 3 yards. Yeah, maybe I'll do that. That's a good call. And put in the parlay and stuff like that. Yeah, that's good. So congrats on winning that one. I wish I took that as my my play, my player prop bet of the game. So yeah, maybe I'll do that. So it's a good suggestion, Barris. Thanks for that. And then Sue says, I feel your pain, G Chuck. Yeah. So I hope most of you guys avoided that. Obviously some of you didn't. All right, let's get to the games, and you guys can just leave any comments. I'll answer anything. You guys know I'm an open book, especially when I'm by myself and I can't get canceled. So as much as they're trying to cancel me, it just doesn't work because first of all, I don't care, and second, I'm self-employed. I fund my own operation. I'm funded like solely by myself, so it just doesn't work that way. And plus, we have some good amount of premium subscribers, so like it doesn't even matter as far as the ads are concerned. But the ad company is just on me anyway. So all right, so the first game is Raiders at the Ravens. So I made a mistake in this game yesterday, or maybe it was Tuesday. I can't remember when I was said the name Malcolm Kuntz. I thought maybe he'd come back because he was out for week 1. I did not see that he was placed on injured reserve. I was looking at that tonight. I don't usually look at the IR list until Friday when I'm like doing my deep dive like on the injuries and stuff like that. So I missed. It must have happened after last Friday, probably a few days ago or something. But yeah, I missed that. So unfortunately, Kuntz is out. So that's going to downgrade the Raiders pass rush a little bit, but I still like it a lot here against the Ravens. Ravens have the offensive line issues. So I think it's going to be tough for them to consistently beat any team that has a good defense by double digits. And that's what they have to do here. I just don't like the idea of taking just a team that isn't great by 10 or more. And I think the Raiders should be able to keep it close. Like, especially if like they need a backdoor touchdown, they have the receivers to do it. Devontae Adams, Jacoby Myers, Brock Bowers. I'd be surprised if this game's not somewhat close. Now, like maybe the Raiders don't cover if they lose by like 13 or 14, but I'd be shocked if it's like a 20, 30 point blowout. But yeah, then again, I did not see Saints Panthers coming. Ditto to you, Sue. Yeah. Chris says, I have Achane in 5 of my 8 leagues to start him all of them, despite him being a game time decision. Great call, Chris. That's awesome. Yeah, I did not have Achane in my leagues. I did have him in DraftKings as my captain. Unfortunately, I did not have James Cook. I actually don't know if that line of cash. I don't think it did. I think it was just near the cut line, if I'm not mistaken. Somewhat far from the cut line. Yeah, no, I Tyreek Hill kind of ruined it. So yeah, it was not. It was like I was definitely in the upper half. If I played cash with this, I would have cashed, I think. So maybe I should have done that. So anyway, let's get to the next game here, which is the infamous one, Chargers at Panthers. And I have to say, I'm no longer on an island with the Panthers, and now I don't know what Tom's going to do. So I'm excited to hear his thoughts on this game on Saturday. Actually, I'm going to know it on Friday because we have to submit our super contest card. But the Sharps have pounded the Panthers. This line's gone from 6.5 to 5. And I think a part of that has to do with Joey Bosa. He was DMP in practice today with a back issue. And so, obviously, if Bosa's out, that's obviously a big deal. It's one of the best defenders in the NFL. That really downgrades the Chargers. And so it's going to be a tougher task for them to win by 5 or whatever the spread is or more at Carolina. As bad as the Panthers were, I don't think they're going to be as bad. Maybe they'll still be bad, but they're not going to be as bad. I'd be shocked because that tends to not happen in the NFL. Like when teams have horrendous performances, they tend to bounce back, even if it's a little bit. It may not be enough to cover, but they're going to be more competitive, especially because they're at home. Like I said, at home last year, they beat Atlanta. They beat Houston, which is pretty impressive. They almost beat Green Bay when Green Bay was hot at the end of the year. They almost beat Tampa at the end of the year when Tampa went on to beat the Eagles in the playoffs. And then they almost beat the Saints in week 2. It was like a 3-point game for most of the evening, that one. So they play a lot better at home, or at least they did last year. So I think they will do the same here against the Charger team. It's not that good, especially if Bosa doesn't play. So I continue to like the Panthers, and I'm glad that I'm not on an island because the Sharps love the Panthers this week. So maybe we're all wrong, but we'll see. Saints Cowboys. The note I have here, two things actually on the Saints. Marshawn Lattimore double DNPs in practice, so he's going to need to be at least limited on a Friday to play, I imagine. So not having him against CeeDee Lamb, that's going to be tough for the Saints. Also, Talise Fuaga was added to the injury report. He missed Thursday's practice with a back issue. So I've said this a lot. Like the Saints' offensive line is horrendous, and if Fuaga's out, it's going to be even worse against the Cowboys. Like what is it with Dallas playing all these teams with injured linemen? The opener, Jedrick Wills and Jack Conklin were out, and here they get the Saints with maybe no Fuaga and Ryan Ramchek's out. Like if Fuaga's missing, they're not going to play a starting starting offensive tackle until at least week 3, which is unbelievable. So I like Dallas more if those guys are out. We'll see. Now maybe they return to practice on Friday. It's just something to think about. If you like Dallas, maybe you want to bet them now before those guys rolled out. Next game, Buccaneers at the Lions. This line moved to 7.5. Just looks like there is sharp money on the Lions. The public's on the Buccaneers, which is not a surprise. A couple of offensive line issues here. Luke Goedeke, the Buccaneers right tackle, he has a concussion, so he missed Thursday's practice, and so he suffered this concussion midway through the week, I think, or at least he had it and then just regressed. So I would be shocked if he played. So that's a big blow to the Buccaneers because Goedeke is just a really good player, and he's going against the Lions pass rush, which is pretty good. And then Penei Sewell was DNP so far twice. Maybe he comes back on Friday. We'll see. But the Lions have a great offensive line. I think they can go. I think they can do well without Sewell. The Eagles in 2017, they famously won the Super Bowl without Jason Peters. A great team like this, they can miss one of their tackles and still be fine. So that's not a concern for me. If they're missing multiple linemen, then I'd be concerned. If it's only Sewell, I think they'll be okay. So let's see. Cassandra says, do not bet Bryce Young. Don't do it. I hate the Chargers as much as anyone this year. The value is gone with that line anyway. You're right about the value is gone. But remember, the advanced spread was 3.5. So we still get a little bit of value, but you're right. Like not getting the 6 is a bummer. And the Sharps definitely got the value part of that for sure. So I might lower the unit count to 2 now that we're not getting 6. But I still like the Panthers. I'd be upset if I didn't bet them and they covered. I feel like such an idiot because I feel so strongly about them. I just love these bounce back situations. I know Bryce Young sucks, but the rest of the team, at least the rest of the offense, I think is good. Defense sucks though. I will say that. If anything, like I'm more concerned about the defense than Bryce Young, to be honest. Like I think that the pieces around Young are good enough to make him be below average. Like, and that's all they need. Like I keep saying, like they need him to be a 4.5 out of 10, like not the 0 that he was. And I think with his talent level and the pieces around him, he can be a 4.5 out of 10. And if he is that in this game, I think the Panthers cover. But like I said, the defense worries me more. But the Chargers offense is not that good. So Chris says nothing against anyone else, but Tommy is by far the best guest you have on your shows. I'll have to let him know. I'm sure he'll appreciate that. Yeah, Tom's awesome. I've known him for so long. We lived. I don't know if you know this, but we lived right next door to each other at Penn State. I was a 5th-year senior. He was a freshman. So you might be wondering, like, what's a 5th-year senior doing in the dorms? I had my own room. I won the lottery, so I had my own single dorm room. So I'm like, I'm not giving this up. It was the best, just like living by myself. But we had a lot of fun on that floor that year. We just went to like a bunch of parties and stuff. It was a fun time. And yeah, I've known Tom since then, since I was 21 and he was 18. So it's 21 years we've known each other, which is awesome. He's a super, super cool dude. And it sucks that he moved away. He used to live around here. We used to hang out more often. But he moved to Florida for work. But yeah, hopefully he comes back sometime soon. We get to hang out. G-Chuck says, I enjoyed Jacob's info, but he needed to take a firm stance more often. Jacob's brilliant, I think. And it's an amazing football mind, a great writer too. I miss him on here. I love Eitan too. I mean, Eitan and I are friends. We live like 10 minutes away from each other. Yeah, I also miss Jacob. Like I wish we could all do the show. And last year we had Friday shows that weren't aired. It was like we're discussing super contest entries, and it was the 4 of us talking. And it was it's a shame that Jacob dropped out because I even brought it up. I'm like, dude, this is awesome. Like us 4 talking. Like I think it would be a great show on Friday nights, and I think they seem down for it, but it's the thing is not gonna be consistent. Like sometimes, one person couldn't make it, or like sometimes 2 people couldn't make it, and so they'd have to communicate with maybe a text. But it was like we had so much insight, like going back and forth, arguing about the picks. Like it was so cool, and I was like, man, we got to turn this into a show. It's like the four of us, but it would be like 3 hours. It'd be so long. We'd be talking for forever. Yeah, I enjoy listening to Tommy as well. Tom's awesome. Any thoughts on Xavier Legette, Walt? As far as you mean this? Do you mean in like a broader sense, or as far as this week is concerned for fantasy? Just I guess let me know. I like him long term. This week though, it's hard to like a rookie playing with Bryce Young. You know what I mean? So I think the only person I touch on offense there is Deontay Johnson, and also Chuba Hubbard. Yeah, just let me know. Cassandra says Jacob's fantastic. Everyone's saying otherwise can F off. Yeah, Jacob's the best. I love Jacob. I hope that he can come back to the show at some point in the future. That'd be awesome. Love the player, hate the situation. Yeah, Legette. I feel the same way. All right, let's get to the next game. It's Colts and Packers. So there's sharp money on this one, and I'm going to try to look for a +3 tonight after the show, and I'll tweet it out if I find one. I think there's one at DraftKings, if I'm not mistaken. We can just take a look now because the sharps jumped all over Green Bay, and I think it's because DeForest Buckner and Kwity Paye have both mispracticed, and it doesn't look like they're going to play. So that is, if you like the Colts, that's a concern. I love the Packers, and I already did. So Packers +3, -115 here. So I will take that. If that's the best line out there, I'm going to look. I have like 7 or 8 sports books I use. There's a Bookmaker, BetUS, Bovada, Caesars, BetMGM, Bet365, Bet Rivers, FanDuel, and DraftKings. 9. So I use 9 sports books. Hopefully one of them has something better than 3 minus 115. And I'll let you know afterward. But I want to jump on this because the sharps are on the Packers, and if Buckner and Pay get ruled out, then the 3 is going to be long gone. So I would jump on this right now. So that is my recommendation for that. Okay, I posted 3 an hour ago. Walt at minus 113 a bookmaker. Okay, interesting. I want to see. If that's still there. Just logging into bookmaker now. Thinking about bookmaker that pisses me off is I don't know if you've ever encountered this, but like if you're on there, you know, like sometimes if you're on a site too long, they'll like have a tick down timer. It's like 30 seconds until you get like kicked out. Like click here to stay on. You know, they have those for a bunch of sites. They have that for bookmaker, but they don't let you an option to stay on. It just like ticks down, and like you have to wait for it to stop, to like go to 0. It's so stupid. Packers are plus 3 minus 119 at bookmaker at the moment, so that's it's still worth it. Paying 3 is up to 127. It makes sense mathematically. Just do the math. So I would take that if DraftKings takes the minus 15 off the board. So yeah, definitely get the plus 3 if you can. All right, then okay. Yeah, never mind. All right. So I should have read your other comments first, Cassandra. Anyway, so I think that's basically what I have for Colts Packers. I have Buckner Pay both DMP twice this week, so definitely jump on the Packers if you can. Next game, Browns at the Jaguars. So we have offensive line updates here. Actually, we have a few updates. So Jedrick Wills returned to practice, limited. Jack Conklin has been limited all week, but don't read too much into that because he was limited all week last week as well, and then he didn't play, so he might be a game time decision again. But it's good that Wills returned to practice at least because he did not practice last week. But on the downside for the Browns, Myles Garrett was DMP on Thursday with a foot injury, which is new because he practiced on Wednesday. So he just picked that up. And midweek downgrades are usually bad. Not always bad, but usually. And he could be ruled out. And if so, I really would not have any interest on the Browns. I would right now, if you were to tell me one of Wills or Conklin's going to play and Garrett's going to play. But if Garrett's out, I just no interest, especially if the other guys are out too. If all 3 are out, I'm going to be on the Jaguars. I'm going to switch, pull the old switcheroo and switch to the Jaguars here. So definitely stay tuned for that update. 49ers, Vikings, the Sharps jump on the Vikings. I think they took this down to 5.5. So that's interesting, even though the Vikings have some injury stuff here. Harrison Smith popped up in the injury report, and so did Brian O'Neill. Two pretty important guys. Smith has a hip, O'Neill with an elbow. And I don't know if they're going to be out or anything like that, but it's just something to monitor if you like the Vikings. So I do like the Vikings. I want them both to play. If one of them's out, I don't think it's a big deal. If both are out, then suddenly you're looking at a team that's kind of shorthanded against a great Viking or great 49er squad. So that would worry me. Next game is Seahawks at the Patriots. This line with the 3.5 after all. And as Cassandra pointed out, 3 minus 113 at bookmaker. I actually want to see that if that's there for me, because sometimes sportsbooks have different lines for different people. I know Bovada is kind of like infamous for doing that, but no, yeah, I'm seeing -3 minus 113. Sorry, not plus. Yeah, -3 minus 113 for the Seahawks. So, but I'm not anticipating betting this game, so doesn't mean as much to me as like the other one would. So the update I have here is no Kenneth Walker in practice so far, DMP twice. But that's like, I'm okay with that. Running back, as we've seen, is so insignificant compared to like other positions. Like we saw Christian McCaffrey, the best running back in the NFL. He missed the Monday night game. The Niners did not skip a beat. Like, can you imagine that with a quarterback or something, or a number one receiver? It's just so different. Running back, just as talented as some of these guys are, it just doesn't matter if they're out. So this yeah, it's just the nature of the beast here. And if like, it's not like ideal that Walker would miss, but Charbonnet is the guy they like. So, and he scored a touchdown last week, so he could have a nice game. This next game, I don't have an update on. Jets Titans. There are no real injury stuff. Line has been steady at 4. It's been between 4 and 3.5 all week. I think it's a 4 now. I still love the Titans, but yeah, no update here. The early games, Giants at Redskins. I have one update here. Malik Neighbors was downgraded to limited practice on Thursday. Now he wasn't downgraded to out, which would have been bad. Limited it's still like a little worrying, but I like it's not like too concerning. So it's just something to monitor. If he's out, like try not to bet the Giants. It's talked about how important number one receivers are. If Neighbors is out, like they suddenly have zero receiving talent against a team they need to exploit with their secondary. Like Washington's secondary is awful, but if the Giants don't have the receivers to exploit it, it doesn't matter. The Giants in this game, I'm considering the Giants putting them up to 7.5, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I thought about moving the Bills to 8.5, like doing Bills 8.5, Giants 7.5 on the teaser, and I just kind of forgot. Thursday's a little hectic here because my wife takes the kids to her work. She works at a daycare, and so she can take the kids to work there, and then they have a good time. Actually, my son and this girl Jasmine apparently like they're best friends, and they just run around like crazy. they call them the terrible twosome or something. I forgot what they call them there, but they cause a lot of mayhem. And my son's just like nonstop. It's insane. No, so I have to pick him up, and then we go to Chick-fil-A, and then we go home, and then like by the time I'll do all that, like it's the inactives come out, so I have to do my write-up. So I just like forget stuff on Thursday in the evening. So I just forgot to do the teaser, but I do want to tease the Giants up to 7.5 if Neighbors plays. If he's not playing, then I have no interest in doing that. So let's see. Cassandra says, I love Seattle this week. Interesting. I don't care about Walker whatsoever, and neither do I. Fans a big concern. I agree. But New England still won't get any pressure. That lucky game last week versus the messed up Cincinnati team was meaningless. I totally agree with that. I think it's a good idea to fade teams coming off like these surprise wins, that like especially bad teams going on surprise wins. Like you generally are going to have a good success doing that. You're going to get good lines. The spread should be like 4 or higher. So I think you're getting a good number, especially at 3. It's the 3.5 that I hate. Like I would never bet a 3.5 with Seattle, but I think 3 is pretty good. So yeah, I don't plan on betting Seattle at 3.5, but at 3 minus 113, I think they're definitely worth considering. Michael says slightly surprised that DeAndre Hopkins hasn't been placed on IR. Yeah, well, he needs knee surgery, and he said that he's not going to do it because he doesn't want to miss the season. So I feel like if they just put him on IR, he would just get the knee surgery, So that's the issue there. He should have just gotten the knee surgery. So maybe he would have been fine by the end of the year. I don't know exactly how long he would have been out, but that's the issue is that like it's not going to get better. In fact, like if he just missed time and didn't have the knee surgery, I don't think he'd be much healthier. So I feel like this is just going to be a lost season for him. All right, let's jump to the late games here. So we have Rams Cardinals. The update I have here is that Rob Havenstein, 2 things. Rob Havenstein was limited in Thursday's practice, which is good news because the Rams lost Joe Noteboom and Steve Avila to IR. So having Havenstein on the field is going to be massive for the Rams. Don't need to tell you that. I mean, like if they're missing like 4 linemen, it's insane. Even against Arizona, like Arizona doesn't get pressure on the quarterback, but still, like at some point, it's just too much. But yeah, like Havenstein playing would be awesome. For the Cardinals, kind of weird that Kyler Murray popped up on the injury report with a knee. But he's practiced fully. So I don't know what to make of that. But if it's significant enough to put him on the injury report, like there has to be something there. So I don't know if he got hurt. This is a guy who always gets hurt. So, I don't know if he got hurt at the end of last week or something. He is definitely a lot worse in the second half after a hot start. And some of that had to do with Jonah Williams suffering an injury. Jonah Williams got knocked out after like 20 snaps, and Arizona just went downhill from there. But if Murray is hurt too, that would explain why Arizona just couldn't really move the ball in the second half. So yeah, it's a worry, especially if you like Arizona. Just tread carefully there. But I like the Rams, and so I'm loving that news. So I'm considering moving the Rams to +7 and Giants +7.5 on a teaser if, like I said, if Neighbors plays and if Havenstein plays. So hopefully we get the Havenstein news before the 1:00 games. The next game is Bengals at the Chiefs. This line moved down to 5.5. So the sharp money coming in on Cincinnati, I assume it's just because of just perceived value, just because this line was 3.5 and it moved to 6. Like we had Cal on Tuesday's shows commenting about how there's just way too much line value in Cincinnati. And I think that might be the sharp perspective here, that you're just getting too much line value with the Bengals team that could be capable of backdoor cover. And that's kind of like, I am fearful that if I plan on a small bet on the Chiefs, but if I were betting like pretty heavily on them, I would be pretty worried about a backdoor cover. But then again, T. Higgins has not practiced yet, DNP both days. In fact, there was a story that came out today that someone accused, or some people have accused Higgins of faking his injury just because of the contract situation. And so I wouldn't dismiss it. I'm not saying he definitely is, but I think it's definitely something that should be thought of. These Bengal receivers are pretty disgruntled, and understandably so. So anyway, the next game is Steelers at Broncos. My update here is that so a couple things. Patrick Queen was DNP on Thursday with a groin issue, and he's good. He's obviously a talented player. So if he were to miss this game, it's going to make the Steelers defense like substantially worse, especially against a quarterback who's going to run a lot. And this line did move from 3 to 2.5, and I think that could be the reason the Sharps jumped on Denver. So I'm not going to be betting this game. The other thing is that Garrett Bowles returned to practice. He was DNP on Wednesday, but he practiced on Thursday. So that's good news for Denver. Even though, like I said, TJ Watt, like, it's strange, but he's not going to be that much of a presence in this game just because Bo Nix is going to check down the ball so much or scramble. TJ Watt was so impactful against the Falcons because Cousins just holds on to the ball forever. But Bo Nix is the opposite. He's just going to just throw the ball right away. Just Julian McLaughlin is going to like lose 2 yards in every play. It's like this team is so bad. So I'm at least happy that we made that call about Denver being one of the worst teams in the NFL. But it's going to be a tight one. I think the Steelers will win by 3 in an ugly game. So I would take the Steelers if I had to, or bet them if I had to. But luckily, we don't have to bet in every game. Chris says, Walt, have you checked out John Gruden's new YouTube channel yet? I'm enjoying his long-form game previews. He and Tirico were my favorite broadcasting team ever. Gruden being blackballed was a joke. I totally agree that him being blackballed was a joke. I have not seen his show yet. I know that he was starting a show. I heard that. I think Charlie Campbell told me actually that he heard that Gruden was starting a show. I'll have to check it out because Gruden's a sharp guy. He's super interesting to listen to, and I like I said, I totally agree that being blackballed was is such a joke. Like people say First Amendment violation, which true, but also Fourth Amendment violation, just like out at like seizing his emails and stuff like that. And I know he's suing the NFL. I don't have any updates from that. I wish I did. I hope he takes the NFL to the cleaners because like they deserve it. Slipbagger says Patrick Mahomes is about to murder 53 Ohio Cats this Sunday. Well, hold on a second. The media says no cats are being eaten. Although if you it's funny if you Google do Haitians eat cats and like do a search before like a month ago, like before all this stuff happened, like you'll see results saying like yes, Haitians eat cats. Like it's like a delicacy there. Like they eat cats. So like I don't know, like the media is like, oh, they don't eat cats. How dare you say that about Haitians? But like they actually eat cats and they're proud of it. It's like it's a thing there. So yeah, it's kind of, it's so stupid this whole thing. Although I mean, Trump did. In fairness, Trump said dogs. I haven't heard anything about dogs, but they definitely eat the cats there. John says, "Told you to put your life savings on the Bills." Yeah, I'm shocked by the result. I'm sure you are as well. Gruden's YouTube videos also. Yeah, everyone's saying that. You guys aren't the first people to tell me this. I've heard good things otherwise, so I'll have to check it out for sure. G Chuck asking John if he placed the bet, and he says no. I don't build the bet the Bills ever. It's smart. Actually, one of my former friends. I used to hang out with this guy a lot. I just lost touch with him. He's kind of like just he's like an alcoholic now, so I don't like really talk to him. But anyway, he used to he was a big Philly sports fan. He used to always bet against the Philly teams in like playoff games, and his reasoning was like, I'm going to win no matter what. If the team wins, I'm happy, but if they don't, I'm going to win money, and that was his reasoning. So. Money and emotions are bad combinations. Yeah, I can see that. Sue says Northwestern State FCS at University of South Alabama tonight. At the 3/4, USA was up 80-10. Refs huddled with head coaches and agreed to a 6-minute fourth quarter, 87-10 final. Well, I hope there was no 55-minute rule in place. Not that people are dying to bet Northwestern State and South Alabama, but they do. Sportsbooks do have that 55-minute rule where a game has to go 55 minutes for you to cash. But yeah, like I said, I don't know who is betting that. Chris says, "Good evening, Walt. Is Quacky busy with another all duck orgy tonight?" Well, unfortunately for Tom, he's not enjoying himself in that manner. He had a work conflict. He said he had to wake up at 5 a.m. and he had a busy day today. So he just wasn't going to be able to come on. But he said he's going to be on Saturday. So you can ask him about the duck orgy on Saturday if you want to. Anyway, next game is Bears at the Texans. The Sharps are on the Bears. They dropped this from 7-6. I wonder if it's because also like with Cincinnati, we have some perceived value here because the line was 3.5 on the advanced spread. So it popped all the way up to 7. So, again, like the Bears looked awful against Tennessee, kind of like the Panthers, but, slightly better. But they're not going to be as bad as they were. Like no team is. But then again, I kind of wonder about this if like maybe the Sharps have some remorse here about betting the Bears because Keenan Allen, DMP, both days of practice. Rome Odunze, DMP, both days of practice. Ryan Bates was downgraded in practice. So the Bears might be pretty shorthanded. Dalton Schultz missed practice for what it's worth, but the Texans have so many weapons, it just doesn't matter. I still like the Texans, even though the Sharps moved this from 7-6. I think the Sharps aren't always on the right side. They're going to be on the right side more often than not. But it's not like it's not even like 60%. It's like 55% maybe or 53%. So it's probably closer to 55%. So yeah, I mean, like if you're neutral in a game, you see sharp money, you could always jump on. But like I said, they don't always have the same side or the right side, and they could just be taking the value or what they think is good value here. And I actually don't think it's good value because when I saw the advanced spread, and I'm kicking myself for not betting it. I looked at Houston minus 3.5. I'm like, that can't be right. This line is way too low. And so now it's 6. I wish I had bet the 3.5. I would have been pretty proud of that. But yeah, I should probably focus more on betting some advanced spreads, which I will do. Week one's kind of chaotic, or going into week one. I'm trying to make sure like all my ducks in a row and stuff like that. Make sure everything's done. It's just like it's just so much work, but it gets a little easier as the year progresses. So I have more of an opportunity to do that. So anyway, so this is the second game I have no update on because the injury report just came out. There's really no one on it. Like Nate Landman for the Falcons is on the injury report, but that's it. No one really for the Eagles. And this line is kind of remains steady at 6.5. So nothing new to say about this game. I still like the Eagles, but I worry about a backdoor cover here. Kirk Cousins so bad with pressure, but he has London, he has Pitts, he has Bijan. If he's down like 14 in the fourth quarter, I worry about a backdoor cover because Of course, they're going to go for 2 after they score a touchdown, so they can take it to 6, and so then your day is ruined or your night's ruined. So if I'm going to bet the Eagles, which I don't know if I will, but if I do, it's going to be 1 or 2 units at most, just because the backdoor cover stuff. You just get no. It just sucks to not get any key numbers except for the 7 here. Keenan Allen banged up? No way. Yeah, I'm shocked. I was, I was kind of shocked that Devon Achane played tonight because he's so injury prone too. But yeah, he stayed healthy, but they had him out there with like 3 minutes left with like no Hill, no Waddle, no Tua. Like Achane was still like catching passes and running. I'm like, what are you doing? It's like an injury waiting to happen with him. Just let Jalen Wright run, So I don't know. I downgraded Mike McDaniel a lot tonight. Just a lot. Like he had no. It's like his team was not prepared to play. They had no grasp of what to do time-wise, clock management-wise, at the end of the first half. He just didn't put his players into good situations. Like they're calling runs as like time expires. Like they just ran the ball nonstop, even though they lost the 2 best run blockers this offseason. And then he has Achane out there with 3 minutes left. It's just I don't get it. I don't understand this guy. I know he's he's good at scheming players open. So maybe he can just be a good offense coordinator, but major downgrade for McDaniel. I think he was the biggest loser for tonight, for sure. Chris says the Sharps were pretty terrible week 1, so perhaps they're in line for a bounce back. They were, weren't they? Although Titans kind of screwed them over, like they screwed everyone else over. But yeah, the Sharps did take a bath in week 1. You're right. So yeah, hopefully they bounce back because usually when the Sharps do well, we do well. Chris says nice ads, Walt. You should get a Walter Football Premium membership. So here's the thing. I actually have a Walter Football Premium membership, but I have the ads turned on, and the reason for that is I need to see if the ads are working properly or if they're causing like major errors or something. I know they're pretty tedious to begin with, but they it could be a situation where like an ad is just completely covering a section of the site. Like that happens from time to time. So I need to be able to go to the ad team and be like, hey, you guys need to fix this. So just not having the ads on would not allow me to do that. So it's weird. Like I technically have the membership, but I have my developer turn the ads on for me. And you can actually do that. Like if not that you'd want to defeat the whole purpose, but if you like reached out to my developer or me, like, hey, I want my ads on despite the membership, he would do that if you wanted to. But I would not recommend that because, like I said, defeats the whole purpose. John says McDermott must have given his defense one hell of a 9/11 speech yesterday. Yeah, you know what? We should have known that McDermott would be awesome around 9/11. It's technically not 9/11, but it was the day after. So it was a very special day for him. He galvanized the troops, and it was a great speech by McDermott for sure. We John, we really blew it. Like we should have known the Bills would go off. Chris says, I was up against Achane in a league, played him in my other. At least it's good. So, of course, he was the only Dolphin to go nuts. He was the only Dolphin, really. Tyreek Hill, complete no-show. Tyreek Hill looked exhausted during the game. He checked out a one play, I forget. It was like early in the game. I'm like, you're tired already? Like, what's going on here? This Miami team is just, like, they barely beat Jacksonville. They had to have a comeback against Jacksonville when they had that advantage with the sun, and then now they get destroyed by the Bills. Kind of curious who they play in week 3. I can look it up. They play at Seattle. I'm not sure how I feel about that, but yeah, just based on how the Dolphins have played, you have to like Seattle. Although I mean, that could be Skylar Thompson starting, just based on Tua's concussion. I don't know how long Tua's gonna be out. He has a major concussion history. And so, yeah, he could miss a lot of time here. I kind of wonder if the Dolphins are going to sign Ryan Tannehill. He's just sitting out there. If I'm Tannehill, I'm like so excited to go play with Hill and Waddle. It sounds awesome to me. So, John says people that complain about ads should just pay up. Yeah, I always I always say that like I used to get a lot of complaints, and then we had the ad free experience, and like I get fewer. I still get some, and I always say like, hey, we have an ad free version of the site, and then like people usually don't say anything, but it's true because like most other sites charge for content, and they charge a lot. Like I know some sites they charge like $50 a month, or even more for their content, which is it's kind of insane to me that like, and especially in this economy that you charge so much. So I don't know. I feel like $7.99 a month is pretty fair, just to turn off the ads. So yeah, I don't know. Sue says Pennsylvania is ground zero for the presidential election. IMO. What is it like there? Is it crazy? Is it intense? I see a lot of Trump Pence signs like everywhere I go. But then again, I live in the suburbs. So the problem with Pennsylvania is you have like it's a red state. You have I'd say every state is red. It's just like how big are the blue blobs in each state? Like, and we have two big blue blobs. Actually, we have two big ones and like one medium lower size one. We have Philadelphia on the east, Pittsburgh on the west, and then you have Harrisburg in the middle, slightly like below average. So all like any suburbs or rural areas, it's all going to be Trump. And I always joke that like when I used to drive to Penn State, it would be once you got out of Philly, it'd be like Cal, 20,000 hot girls, Cal. Like that's basically like the state. Like it's just all farmland. And yeah, you're going to see Trump Pence. I said Trump Pence. Trump Vance signs everywhere. Yeah, Pence is running again. You had to change two letters. Sorry, Trump Vance signs. I'm used to saying Trump Pence. Trump Vance signs. You see him everywhere. In fact, you just might see Trump Pence signs. It's just for people who still have them up. But no, yeah, you see Trump signs everywhere. I've seen like one or two Harris signs, and that's it. So, but then again, I never go into the city, and so like one of the last times I was in the city, there's this cool restaurant. I've talked about it before. Maybe I don't know if you guys have heard of it. I heard me saying it, but it's called Nifty 50s. It's like a 50s style restaurant. It's amazing. I love the food there. It's so good. The problem is it's in the city, and like it just sucks because like it's so crowded. Like actually the food is so good. Yet it's like a 2-hour wait to be seated, and people will still go there. It's insane. Anyway, like the last time I was there, it was like 2 years ago. I was just like standing in line, and like these two girls behind me, they were just talking to themselves. I kind of like eavesdropped on the conversation, and they're like, oh, I hate Trump so much. I can't believe Trump said this. I can't believe Trump said that. I'm like, yeah, I don't know exactly what they were talking about, but I'm like, you guys probably heard misinformation, because that's all that happens with the Trump stuff. But anyway, yeah, my point is like, yeah, if you go in the city, you're going to see, you're going to get a lot of like Trump hate. It's not even Harris support. Like who would support Harris? She has nothing. She has no policies outside of abortion. But it's all Trump hate. It's all anti-Trump stuff. So yeah, that's basically the situation in Pennsylvania, and they tend to get like a lot of fake votes from the Philly area, Pittsburgh area, and they could do that again. Although I do know that I can't ever remember the guy's name. He has long hair. He was signing a lot of people up. I'm kicking myself right now, but he's done a great job of registering a lot of Republican voters in Pennsylvania. So I'm pretty optimistic that Pennsylvania could go for Trump, but I think it's gonna be pretty close. I really think it's close to a coin flip. I'd say like if I had to put odds on it, I'd say like 55% Trump to win right now, PA, but it could go either way. Let's see here. We have some other comments. Bills took out Rodgers last year in 9/11 too. Yeah. We're really the Bills are something else in 9/11. Oh, they did lose that game, but still, they go nuts. Erie's pretty blue, I thought. Erie's so far away, I couldn't tell you. I once dated a girl from Erie, but that's like all I know about Erie. We went out. I wouldn't say dated. We went out like 3 or 4 times at Penn State. But all she wanted was to be non-exclusive, and I was like, that's kind of weird. I don't know, but I don't know. I was still into her a little bit, but it never really went anywhere. Chris says California is even a red state. Something I learned when I was out there back there in February. Just the big cities are blue, and there's a lot of big cities there. Yeah, exactly. It's the number of big blue blobs in each state. That's why like Illinois, outside of Chicago, and I guess like whatever universities they have there, like Evanston, like for Northwestern and whatever. It's all red. It's all farmland. Like Illinois is all farmland except for Chicago mostly. And like Chicago's just so massive in that state that just takes the whole thing over. And I feel bad for like the farmers out there or the people in the suburbs who don't want this nonsense, but they're just subjected to it. It's kind of crazy. It's a shame. Bagley says, yeah, I think Trump is going to win PA, but it's going to be close. Yeah. I think we're on the same wavelength there. The persistence, yes. Scott Presser, yes. There you go. Scott Presser. I can't ever remember his name. I always I can't remember this guy's name, and then someone says Scott Presser. I'm like, yes, Scott Presser, and then I just forget it the next time. I don't know why. I can't ever remember his name. It's just something about him. But I like him a lot. I think he's done a great job. I love listening to him when he's on Tim Cass as a guest. He's just phenomenal. Like what he's been doing. John says he used to drive the Erie, PA for the fireworks. I could only buy them if I wasn't from PA, but I couldn't buy them in New York. That's America for you. Yeah, you're talking to a super hardcore libertarian here. I think all this stuff should be legal. It should be up to the states, I think, but still, like, why restrict stuff? It's so stupid. Just let people have fun. As long as you're not hurting anyone, you should be able to do whatever you want. That's why I think. But then again, you have all these authoritarians, which I really hate. So yeah, I think this we have all the comments here. So we went over all the games, and yeah, I hope you guys have a great start to your weekend. I'll be back on Saturday with Tom. Like you said, he's going to be on Saturday. He's excited for it. So I can't wait to break down week 2 with him. Although, like I said, I'll know what he's on tomorrow. But so and also I'm gonna see if I can convince them to do a show. It's like the 3 of us. Jacob's out of it now, but like Eitan, Tom, and I. Hit the like button. Yes, please. Hit the like, subscribe, comment below, share this video. Visit the link in the description for the merch store. But yeah, like I said, I'm gonna see if they can do it. Problem there is that like some of these meetings that we have start at like midnight. But still, it's 12:20 right now, so maybe it doesn't matter to you guys at all. So I'm going to try to convince them, see if we can do a show of some sort. It won't be like official. We won't be like taking turns, and like it'll just be us yelling over each other, which like might be more entertaining. But yeah, and then like Tom brought up something. He's like, "What if we do so well in the super contest that like we can't reveal stuff?" And I'm like, "Well, we'll cross that bridge when we get there. That's like a good problem to have." So like we could take like a week off like when we have that. Chris says it's a shame the libertarian candidate Chase Oliver is a complete moron. Yeah, I first of all a couple years ago or even like a year ago I thought Dave Smith was going to run. I love Dave Smith. He's the best. Real quick, Sue 222. Thanks. Yeah, thank you so much, Sue. Really appreciate your support. You, John, Cam Eagle, you guys have been so awesome recently. So thank you so much, Sue. Anyway, like with Chase Oliver, I was so excited about Dave Smith, and then Dave Smith said he wasn't going to run. I think it's because he has 2 young kids, and if he ran for president, he would obviously be far away from his kids all the time. And as someone who also has 2 young kids, like I wouldn't want to do that. Like I love hanging out with my kids. If I like when I went to Vegas, for example, like I was away for 4 days. Like I missed them so much coming home. Like I was like. I couldn't imagine just always being on the road, like always missing my kids. Like I'm glad I can be at home and see them all the time. And I think that Dave Smith feels the same way. And, he's a young guy anyway. And he could run in 4 years. He can probably run in 8 years better. His kids are going to be grown up. I don't know exactly how old they are, but I assume like he would be way more interested in running in like 8 years. And, yeah, and like I said, he's a young guy, and like plus this year he would have to bump into Donald Trump, which is it's like kind of a buzzsaw. So, Yeah, so I'm excited about Dave Smith. But anyway, I thought the Libertarians are going to run someone else. Uh, again, it's maybe I'm just blanking here because I'm running on 2.5 hours of sleep. But the guy I thought who had the lead there, the voting is like this guy Michael something. He had glasses. I liked what he had to say. I listened to him a lot. I thought if he ran, I'm pretty sure I would have voted for him. But then the second and third place people in the Libertarian Party conspired to join together, and so that like Chase Oliver was second, and like whoever his VP is was third, and so they basically colluded and jumped over the first guy. So Chase Oliver is not libertarian. He's pro-vaccine mandate. He's a communist, and he's pro child sterilization. Like he's a lunatic. Like you can't run this guy. And he's also pro open borders, which like you can argue pro open borders. I know some libertarians are pro open borders, some are pro closed borders, but like the border is such an issue right now. Like how can you run a pro border guy? Like if you want to be serious and like if as a party if you want to be serious and get votes, you can't run a pro border guy. It's insane. So I don't know. I heard the conspiracy theory that they're running Chase Oliver so all the libertarians have to vote for Trump because despite there being a libertarian candidate, quote unquote, the most libertarian candidate on the ballot right now is Trump, and it's not even close. Like it's not even close. And so yeah, as libertarian, small L, like I don't want to be part of a party, but yeah, small L libertarian, like I'm gonna vote for the most libertarian person, and that's Trump. It's like it's an easy choice. Like it can't be Kamala. She's authoritarian, as it is. And Chase Oliver is not libertarian. And then who else is there? There was RFK, who I liked RFK for the most part, but he said some like wacky stuff. He was anti 2A, although he did take that back. So I don't know. I think I wish RFK was the Democrat candidate. I think like Trump versus RFK debates would have been fascinating. Like rather than the debate we saw on Tuesday night where it was Trump versus David Muir, and then Kamala's like, "Oh, I'm here too. Listen to my story as a kid. I grew up in a medium middle income family." It's like, no one asked you about your upbringing, lady. Like they asked the question. They're like, were you the Ronald Reagan quote? Are you better off now than you were 4 years ago? And she goes, I was raised in a middle class family. It's like, what does that have to do with anything? Like, it's so crazy. And then the fact that like they were fighting so much with Trump about the fact checking, and like most of their fact checking turned out to be wrong. It's just such a joke. What Trump should have done, but when they didn't fact check Kamala, like when Kamala said the stupid Charlottesville hoax stuff or the January 6th hoax stuff, Trump should have been like, hey, David Muir, do you want to fact check Kamala for that? I can wait. And just seeing what they would have said, because they didn't fact check her once, and she spread so many like hoaxes that were disproven already. So anyway, we kind of delved down the political plot line there. So anyway, let's gonna sign off now. Probably going to take a nap and then do some more work. I'm going to look into player prop bets tonight and see what I can find. But I'll probably take like a half-hour nap because, like I said, I'm running on 2.5 hours of sleep, and then lots of pain in my mouth too. So, I said, I hope you guys have a great start to your weekend. Please like, subscribe, comment below, etc. Thank you so much, Slew, for the 222 super chat. Just really appreciate it. And I will be back on Saturday, if not Friday, if I can convince those guys to do it. But definitely Saturday, maybe Friday. But I will talk to you guys later.